1440.
Stollery Children's Hospital Foundation Mighty Millions Lottery bonus prize deadline is midnight Friday. Go top shelf to score the Oilers in $75,000 bonus prize. Lower bowl Oilers season seats plus $75,000 cash. You're also in to win the Porsche Paris early bird and the $2.5 million grand prize. A luxury show home in Cameron Heights. Hurry, bonus prize deadline is midnight Friday. Be mighty. Buy your tickets now at MightyMillionsLottery.com.
The employee pricing event is on now at GMC. Right now, get up to $14,000 off the 2025 Sierra 1500 Denali Ultimate. Bring power wherever you go with a 6.2-liter Ecotec V8 engine with dynamic fuel management technology. Bring style to the open road with a signature Denali Vader chrome grille and accents. And keep comfort top of mind with available Super Cruise hands-free driver assistance capability. Employee pricing is on now. Ask your GMC dealer for details.
River Cree is the place for all your favorite sports. River Cree Resort and Casino, featuring UFC action and boxing live on the big screens at Tap 25, the MVP of sports bars, and in the Center Bar. Plus, catch this fall's biggest games. Every goal, every tackle, every home run. River Cree is also home to the Twin Rinks, where rec hockey and community teams come to play. Public skating available. Details at rivercreeresort.com.
River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement. Bet on it.
You haven't set your lineup yet, right? It's Fantasy Frenzy with Halley and Douglas on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wilhauk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky.
$11 Good morning. Happy Monday. Thank you for tuning in to Fantasy Frenzy here on Sports 1440. Connor Halley, Brandon Douglas, Josh Fenwick with you here from the Sports 1440 studios in West Edmonton Mall. Fantasy Frenzy brought to you by Wilhauk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky, online at wilhaukbeefjerky.com. If you're watching on YouTube and Facebook, you can see me. You got a chance to see our intern there for a second and half of Brandon Douglas's face. Thank you guys for joining us on the show. The text line, 1-833-401-1440. Full confession, Josh, thanks for fixing it. I did bump the camera, and I was going to fix it, but I ran out of time. Now you got the Duke in all his glory. Duke, good morning. How was the weekend? How was the bartending shift on Saturday?
Good morning, Connor. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Saturday night, late, long. Standing back there, it shows how soft I've gotten in my city living the past couple of years. That even just standing on my feet for like 7 hours straight in my dress shoes was like, I want to die. It was could have I drug a chair back there in the bar? Sure, but I don't think that's as good of a look. You want to show that you're up and ready and trying to have fun with all the patrons. So from 3:30 till about 2:00 in the morning, I was occupied there, slinging them. Good time. Great weekend of football going all the way back to Friday night with your Bolts. Getting the win, padding my sportsbook account a little bit, only for me to basically pile it all down the drain again yesterday, because I think of all the action I had out there yesterday, and some was props, some were games up against the spread, I won two. The Niners and the Bucks. Everything else, losses across the board. But now I'm looking forward to Monday Night Football, too. The Elks game on Saturday, I was watching that from the bar at the Blueberry Community Hall on my phone. What a performance. Justin Rankin, this guy, I brought it up with Kevin and Eddie this morning. Connor, maybe you're a little more on my side than they were, but if the Elks can put this together down the stretch there and find their way into a playoff spot, I don't care if it's in the crossover. I don't care if they grab the last spot in the West somehow. I have to think Justin Rankin will be a big part of that success to lead to that point. and as a result should very much be in consideration for most outstanding player this year in the CFL. He has over 1,200 yards from scrimmage. That is 1 yard back of James Butler, who is the league leading rusher in the league. But we're like, Rankin has over 500 yards receiving. He has 8 total touchdowns. He's clearly the straw that stirs the drink offensively for this club. I continue to be blown away by him each time. I think he's maxed out at impressing me. He breaks off a 90-yarder, and it's not like there was just a hole there for him. Like, he's so elusive in space for a guy of that size. Top speed is immaculate. I love watching him play the game.
Yeah, I mean, I would not argue. If they get into the playoff spot, then he's going to be one of the main reasons why. And, you look at him right now, 4th in the league in rushing, Duke, but doing so on about 60 less carries than everyone else. He's averaging 5.9 yards per carry. When it comes to plus 20-yard runs, he's got 10. Next closest is James Butler at 5. Like, this guy, he's a big play waiting to happen. And we saw it that game we went to 2-3 weeks ago. It was a Friday night in the press box, and we both were like, give this guy the ball 30 times. Like, it doesn't matter. You have to find ways to put it in his hands, and good things are going to happen. If you had him in CFL fantasy, well, congratulations. I'm sure you won the week, because you're right. He was big. And I mean, I loved watching that Elks game. Like, they battled back. There was a play, Duke, and you didn't get a chance to watch it live. I'm going to have to talk to Declan, but it was almost offsetting penalties. There was a late kind of push from a stamp, and then one of the Elks linemen pushed back and knocked the guy to the ground, and it set up at 2nd and 15. And the Elks converted. And it kind of reminded me of, like, in hockey, when a guy takes a penalty defending his teammate, and then you go out there and you kill the penalty. Like, it's like, as long as we make a good, next play or next series, we wipe that out. And it was just nice to see a little backbone, a little pushback. Don't be bullied. This is football. 2nd and 15. Yeah, it didn't set you up for the best situation, but Fajardo completed the next pass. And I don't know, felt like the Elks had a little bit of moxie in that one. It became the bullies. And awesome to see. The crowd, if you went to it, well done. Looked fantastic. It was loud. And I tweeted it. Next home game, 2 weeks against the Riders. They're going to show up. So, Elks fans, if you want to go have a good time, it's always fun. When the Riders Nation, is that what they call themselves? When they show up, it's going to be a fun time. So get your tickets for that one, and we'll see what the Elks can do in their next couple. We got a watch party on Saturday. Nice 1:00 start. I'm looking forward to that. And the Elks beating a Western Conference team. Fantasy football this weekend, Duke. Looks like we did make the right call starting Justin Herbert on Friday. Put up a pretty good numbers. Other players, maybe not so much. I'm sure we all did the whole thing where we leave players on the bench. Tomorrow we'll confess to our sins and the things we might have mistaken. But yeah, it was a fun weekend in the NFL. CJ EDM, just in all caps. Why? I'd like to see what Deanocracy has to say as well. Noted Ravens fans here on the show, and I feel you. I said it with Kev. When Josh Allen was just driving the football down the field, I've totally understood that situation. He wasn't going to be stopped. I've seen Mahomes do it to the Chargers on so many occasions where it's just like, there's no matter what you do, they're going to find a way to get the job done and kick that last second field goal. You're just praying that their kicker chokes. But Prater wasn't going to miss that one. He looked like he was a little bit stressed on the sideline, but once they got as close as they did, it was a no-doubter. HVAC Nick's texting me, guys, literally everyone survived in the survivor pool. It was a little scary for us who took the Broncos. HVAC Nick, that was me. And I was like,
you're like, no, not again.
3 straight years, I'm going to be knocked out of this dang survivor pool, and it's going to be the Broncos losing to the Titans. They did get the job done. Bengals-Browns was another one that I think probably we're stressing a little bit for sure, but that's good. I mean, if that's what it takes for me to advance in a survivor pool and it's everyone advancing, it's okay. That's good. Now we turn our attention to week 2. But hey, maybe there's some Bears or Vikings fans tonight that got in on that game. Duke, we're going to talk to Ruthie Polinsky out of Chicago in the next segment a little bit about the Bears and that offense. But from a Vikings perspective, who are you looking forward to? What are you expecting? Because there's a guy under center that I would say is pretty high importance when it comes to the Vikings having success, not only in fantasy, but real football too.
Yeah, JJ McCarthy, I mean, high draft pick, turned some heads when they took him there last summer, and then obviously the knee injury last year leads to missing his entire rookie season. So there's a lot on his shoulders for a team that won 14 games last year, right? And right until the second last week of the season was in contention to win the division and get that first round bye. Didn't work out. They end up losing to the Rams, who proved to be a pretty good team by year's end. So to me, JJ McCarthy doesn't have to be spectacular. So if we're talking fantasy-wise, he might rack up points because he's got playmakers out there in the names of Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison once returning. TJ Hawkinson, I don't think carries the cachet that he did upon arriving in Minnesota a couple of years ago. But even a guy like Aaron Jones, still very capable out of the backfield catching the ball. He's athletic. He can scramble when needs be. But between the defense for the Vikings, how loaded they are offensively, this is a team that should very much still be expecting to be a playoff team and possibly even challenge for the division if we're expecting teams like the Lions to step back and maybe the Packers catch a hiccup somewhere along the line too. He doesn't have to be great. He just has to protect the ball and put it in the hands of his teammates that can make stuff happen.
Absolutely. Like, I don't mean this as a shot. MTR, please don't take it that way. But like just looking at Brock Purdy and what he does, like reads defenses incredibly, can make all the throws. Is he looking like a Josh Allen out there? No, but just getting the job done, finding players that are open, taking what the defense gives you, and making plays happen and putting up numbers. Like I think he's got to be capable of that. Now Purdy doesn't have a Jefferson, but he's got some good weapons there. And I think, at times they'll just have to let Jefferson go up there and make a play, but I'm looking forward to it tonight. Chicago's got some interesting pieces as well.
Yeah. Well,
like so many options.
A lot of off. If Chicago might be one of the most fantasy speaking interesting teams in the league because they continue just to pile up weapons on the offensive side of the ball. We know Caleb Williams. We know DJ Moore. Rome Odunze year two more guys added to the fold with Luther Burden and Colston Loveland. DeAndre Swift been pretty reliable as a fantasy running back. Can pop off, but usually pretty steady Eddie as an option as well. So there's some options there. A little banged up Minnesota is defensively tonight. No Harrison Smith illness. No Christian Darrisaw. Tyler Batty already on the injured reserve. And Darrisaw, I guess, is questionable. Elijah Williams, the defensive end, is also ruled out for tonight. So maybe opportunity knocking a little bit for the Bears as a home underdog in a divisional game to try and get the season off to a good start.
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm really looking forward to it.
It's been so nice. Like, it's still nice out. Like, I always envision, getting home. It's a little chilly. You throw the game on. Still nice out right now, though. Still watching football on a Sunday or Monday night. Throwing the Thursday nighters as well. Oh, NFL football fully back. CFL, Edmonton Elks going to make it competitive. We're going to have hockey soon as well. How about college ball, Duke? Did you get into any of the NCAA this weekend?
When I was watching the Elks game on, I shouldn't even say my phone, my brother-in-law's phone had the Elks game on it. I had the Michigan-Oklahoma game on my phone Saturday evening while bartending, and Michigan let me down. I'd bet on them to actually win outright, let alone cover points, and they got smacked around a little bit by the Sooners. So to take my licks there, just part of what was an overall rough weekend on the sports gambling front.
Well, you should have put all the money on a Quentin Johnston touchdown.
I should have.
Maybe I didn't tell you that, but I tried to tell you that with my
eyes. I was on the Chargers to win outright, not only cover the points, but to win. And they took care of that business. But unfortunately, I did not utilize the newfound resources appropriately.
Deanocracy says, well, not very happy, but we'll get them back in the playoffs. CJ EDM, another Ravens fan, says, bro, how do we drop 40 on the Bills and still lose? Our D is an issue for sure. Well, I think both teams could probably look at that and say, okay, defensively, we got
our best.
We got to step it up. Granted, two of the best quarterbacks in football right now on the opposing side, and maybe to take it a step further, two of the best offenses for sure. The Ravens, if Hopkins can do a little bit of what he did last night, that one-handed catch was incredible. King Henry doesn't look a day over 25. They've got some weapons there, Zay Flowers as well. The Bills, I don't know if I'm quite as high. Like, James Cook is a great player. Keon Coleman, we'll have to wait and see at the touchdown. Josh Palmer, I think, is a good complimentary piece. Who's the guy I'm missing? Khalil Shakir?
Yeah.
Good player. Can Kincaid be someone that can be a reliable target in year 3, whatever this is? Yeah, they got some nice pieces there. But yeah, dude, like, unbelievable football last night from an offensive side. Defensively, if you were someone who grew up playing that side of the football, maybe you didn't quite love it as much. MTR says, shout out CMC. Nobody knew if he was going to play all weekend. 31 touches, an incredible gutsy effort by he and Purdy. Kittle going down, Jennings hurt and out. Gritty divisional road win. The kicker is a joke, though can't even watch when he trots out there. Moody. Yeah, I mean, I thought Moody was old reliable going back to last year. Maybe that changed a little bit, but yeah, Christian McCaffrey. For those of you who rode with him. Let's hope he can keep it up and stay healthy. Before we get to break, Claude says, guys, McDavid is pissing me off. If he doesn't want to be an Oiler, let's trade him and win the cup without him. What an idiot that guy is. Claude from Huntsville, Ontario. Is this like a undercover Leafs fan trying to stir things up in Edmonton? Claude, I wouldn't worry about it. I mean, he's still signed for this year. I would fully expect that it's going to happen at some point. I thought it would have happened by now, to be totally honest with you. I don't know what the holdup is, but he's the Oilers captain. I'm pretty sure he wants to be here for longer. Once it gets done, it's water under the bridge. Just let him handle his business. That stuff doesn't ever make it into the room. I don't think it should tick off the fan base. Now, we'll say this. You get to the trade deadline, and there's still no contract. Well, man, then we'll fire up those discussions. But I wouldn't be worried about it too much. I think it's going to get done, but we'll have to wait and see for sure. MTR says about Moody, he's 11 of his last 21, and he missed a point at PAT in the Super Bowl in a game that went to OT. 11 of his last 21, dude. Did you know he was that bad? How does he have a job still? How are you keeping him around, man?
I don't know. It's tough out there for kickers right now. Not everybody can be 41-year-old Matt Prater, who we talked about in our group chat, and you mentioned it in your open about didn't necessarily look the most confident when that first camera pan came to him, but thankfully they didn't need him to make a 45 or 50-yarder. It was a chip shot to win the game. Nails, Chris Boswell, new career high to win the game for the Steelers at the 60-yarder. And then you got guys like Jake Moody still plying their trade. The first-year guy
Smits?
in Smits, in Cleveland, didn't have a great day. Our boy, Kaimi Fairbairn, good looking out, picking him over Young Wei Koo, because Koo also missed a potential winning or at least tying kick. I can't remember at the exact time. So, tough out there for kickers. Always so quickly to be blamed because they don't do anything for long stretches. Then they're just asked to go in and deliver in the most clutch moments. Not always the easiest.
Hey,
I don't envy them.
You know who went over to Andre Smits after missing?
Shadur Sanders dapped him up and said, listen, dude, it's okay. You can ride the bench with me.
Yeah.
It's all good over here, brother.
We'll get him next time. It's 11:15. Hey, we'll take a break here. When we come back, we will head down to Chicago and talk some Bears with Ruthie Polinsky. Covers the team down in Chicago. Well, I'm so intrigued by this team. I'm looking forward to this conversation. See what she thinks about all those offensive weapons and what Ben Johnson has up his sleeves. Because you know what? He left Detroit, and that offense didn't look quite as good as it once did. Week 1, plenty of football to be played, but it didn't look the same. It's Fantasy Frenzy, Halley, Douglas, and Fenwick with you here, brought to you by Wilhauk Beef Jerky.
The Midsummer Sales Event is on now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. The all-new redesigned 2026 XC90 is here. Test drive the ultimate evolution in luxury. Lease or finance a 2025 XC60 from 0.49% and save $5,000. Finance or lease a 2026 XC40 from 2.99%. Come and discover the deals now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Great vehicles, better service. The Midsummer Sales Event is on now at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com.
While the players gear up for the new season, make sure you gear up your snack game with Wilhauk Beef Jerky.
Okay, this jumbo bag of beef jerky should last the preseason.
Whoa. Wilhauk has more than just beef jerky. There's smoked sausage and pepperoni products, too.
Well, how about we have jerky for Eastern opponents and pepperoni sticks when we face the Western teams?
Now that sounds like a Will Hockey game plan.
Wilhauk Beef Jerky. Because you don't win games with salad. Only available in Leduc.
Fountain Tire. Get up to 25% off select tires, up to $125 off a set of 4 select Goodyear tires, and $50 off $150 service until October 18th. Restrictions apply. Book today. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
Performance by Action Electrical today. Their projects team kicked things off, designing and building with unmatched skill.
Then the service team swoops in for those crucial repairs and maintenance. And don't forget the testing team, ensuring everything's safe and sound before the solar team scores with sustainable energy.
A complete team effort. Have Action Electrical bring home a win for you and your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada with sports and entertainment properties, including the Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, the Hockey Super League, and the newly launched Female Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League's Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena. The Silent Ice Center, a new state-of-the-art entertainment facility, is open in Nisku which features 2 sheets of ice, including a 1,600-seat arena and a restaurant with a viewing area.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Edmonton sports fans, stay informed with Sports 1440. Stream us. Listen to us on the AM dial. However you consume this radio station, thanks for listening.
Diablo Boots sells only Canadian-made work and biker boots made by Canada West. No American or boots made in China, so no tariffs. All of Diablo's boots have replaceable soles and heels for longer life. Sizes 6 to 14 triple E. Buy quality, buy Canadian. And support Canada West and Diablo, the 2 best names in the boot business. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Buy Canadian. They're terrific.
Measles is very dangerous during pregnancy, increasing the risk of many severe health-related complications. If you're planning to become pregnant, make sure you have received 2 doses of the vaccine at least 1 month before conception. Don't get measles, get immunized. Visit alberta.ca/measles to find out if you're up to date and what to do if you're not. A message from the Government of Alberta.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV, and I want to explain how our operation works. You see, over at the new RV store, they take orders and try to sell them all by camping season, and sometimes they sell out early. Sometimes they're stuck with a few that just won't move, and maybe they take a couple of used ones on trade. At No Bull, it's a whole different ballgame.
You have inventory arriving all the time, right, Rick?
That's right, Bob. The RVs at No Bull are here on consignment. Folks choose to sell their RVs with us because the customers are already here.
And you specialize in used RVs.
Better believe it, Bob. The new RV stores are not that interested in used models. And nobody in Alberta has more quality used RVs than we do. Not by a long shot. So if you want to sell yours fast, come to where the buyers are. And that's here.
And that's No Bull.
NobleRV.ca.
Who should start? Who needs to hit the bench? Find out with Fantasy Frenzy with Halley and Douglas. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by Will Hawk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky.
It's 11:20. Welcome back to Fantasy Frenzy here on Sports 1440, streaming on our Facebook, YouTube, and X channels. Find us on YouTube at Sports 1440 AM. Connor Halley, Brandon Douglas with you here. Brought to you by Will Hawk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky, online at willhawkbeefjerky.com. Go pay him a visit. Only available in Leduc. Maybe you want to get some before kickoff tonight. Vikings and Bears should be a fun one in the Monday Nighter. This segment brought to you by Elks Nation, 2 weekly podcasts with Grey Cup champion Eddie Steele and our very own Duckling Kruger, breaking down the Edmonton Elks. 2 weekly shows. You can find it wherever you get your podcast from or streaming on YouTube. And I think it's a little bit more of a positive one this week with a big win over the Stampeders on Saturday evening. Right now, we are going to head down to Chicago and talk some Bears with Ruthie Polinsky. Ruthie, good afternoon. How are you doing today?
Hi, guys. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, we appreciate you joining us on this show. I'm sure it's going to be a busy game day for you. My first question for you, and we're going to probably talk a little bit about fantasy football and just the offensive weapons that the Bears have this season. But how much has changed since Ben Johnson came over from Detroit with this organization?
Man, you know, it's going to be hard to say the biggest change Ben Johnson brings until we really see it on the field tonight. I think this offseason, training camp, preseason, the biggest change we've seen is just the level of accountability and the intensity that he's bringing to the whole entire organization. I think we were all took a little off guard with, you know, sort of his candidness with the local media from the get-go. He's not afraid to call players out publicly or privately. That's something that this is a Bears locker room that was screaming for culture change last year when they fired Matt Eberflus and that whole coaching staff. So for Ben Johnson to come in here, not only as a brilliant play caller and offensive mind, but also as a culture builder, I think has really been the biggest change I think on the football field, guys, it's just going to be about, can he maximize Caleb Williams and the weapons that they've gotten around him? Obviously, a very disappointing campaign for Caleb Williams in his rookie season last year as the number 1 overall pick. He played okay, but I think obviously when the team wins 5 games and they fire everyone, things didn't go as planned for Caleb Williams. So this year it's going to be all about, can Ben Johnson get the most out of his quarterback, because they've really boosted up this roster around the quarterback as well. So it's sort of that no excuses feeling in Chicago right now.
Well, let's start with the quarterback, Caleb Williams. And like you said, maybe a lot of pressure, obviously, being the number 1 overall pick, going to such a historic franchise, and didn't maybe go totally the way he would have hoped. But what have you seen changes in his game since Johnson took over, and what should the expectations be for the second-year pivot?
Yeah, the biggest thing for the Bears this offseason and their offense, it was really their operation and pre-snap operation in particular, really working on, motions and shifts, and also making sure that, he's getting the play call in, no delays of games, no penalties. These are all the things that it sounds really simple and stupid, but it was a big issue for the Bears last year. And that's definitely something where we've seen improvement. It's what Ben Johnson says he's seen the most improvement, like just getting the play call and getting in and out of the huddle has been really, I think we saw a lot of growth from Caleb Williams and the offense this offseason. Then the biggest part, post-snap, we're excited to be able to sort of diagnose those improvements as well. You want to see Caleb Williams play in this scheme. Obviously, we know the reason he was the number 1 overall pick is because all of the off-schedule spectacular plays he can make when protection breaks down and he runs out of the pocket and he throws on the run across his body, and guys, get the ball in their hands and make a big play. So we know Caleb Williams can do the special. I think now it's just about, can he run the offense in Ben Johnson's system? And that's going to oftentimes not be special, right? Like Ben Johnson wants Caleb Williams to be able to get the ball out of his hands quickly, get it into the hands of his playmakers. There were tons of weapons around him, and they really upgraded the offensive line, so there's no excuse to be sacked more than 60 times in his second season at quarterback.
Ruthie Polinsky from Chicago Sports Network, our guest here on Fantasy Frenzy. Brandon Douglas and Connor Halley with you. So Ben Johnson, as a play caller, as a head coach, obviously lots of flair and dramatics in his time with the Detroit Lions. And going back to the start of that time, the running back was DeAndre Swift. And this is a guy that Ben Johnson already moved on from once, but unfortunately not a ton of options right now inside the Chicago backfield. Will we see a pretty heavy dosage of Swift with guys like Roschon Johnson and the new draft pick dealing with a little bit of injury bug here to start things off?
Yeah, it's interesting because DeAndre Swift obviously had a pretty disappointing season last year. The Bears really struggled to run the ball consistently. And I think with Swift now, with this offensive line, I think it says a lot about how Ben Johnson feels about DeAndre Swift, the fact that they didn't really upgrade that room and they're leaning on DeAndre Swift to be their lead running back. I think the upgraded offensive line is going to be a huge help. And I think Ben Johnson's scheme is going to be a really big help for DeAndre Swift. And just talking to him this offseason, this is a guy that's got a chip on his shoulder a little bit. He knows that people don't think he can be the lead back. And he heard the noise about everyone in Chicago calling for an upgrade to the running back room. And there were rumblings that the Bears were trying to trade up for Ashton Genty in the draft. And DeAndre Swift is hearing all of it and he's processing it. And I think we should be primed for a big year from DeAndre Swift. Obviously, they drafted Kyle Monangai, the 7th round rookie out of Rutgers, who is a little undersized. It was a very deep running back class. So a lot of people say, well, he was a 7th round pick, but there were a lot of really good backs in this draft. Ben Johnson this week, guys, told us that this is somebody they're going to lean on, and they really believe in a guy like Kyle Monangai. He was on the injury report the last couple of weeks, but he should be good to go for tonight's game. I'm really excited to see how they use him as well. Roschon Johnson, a guy that's been kind of banged up. He has an injury history that's a little concerning. And then to show you some of that Ben Johnson creativity, they've been using DJ Moore, who's supposed to be their wide receiver 1. We've seen him take some handoffs out of the backfield a little bit this offseason. So don't underestimate what the Bears can do on the ground game. Obviously, that's going to be a huge part of Ben Johnson's offense. It's a huge part of what he did in Detroit. And I think for any successful offense, guys, you got to be able to run the football. And it's going to really take a lot of weight off of Caleb Williams' shoulders as well.
talking all things Chicago Bears with Ruthie Polinsky here on Fantasy Frenzy on Sports 1440. So shifting our attention to that wide receiver room, Ruthie, and DJ Moore, clearly WR1 coming into it, but wasn't always on the same page with Caleb Williams at times during Williams' rookie season. They added Adinze in the draft last year. They go back in for more talent in Burden, Loveland. You mentioned Swift, who is very talented at catching the ball as well. Is DJ Moore's share of this offense shrinking a little bit, or do you think the team is still going to be leaning on him pretty heavily to carry a bulk of the load as the most veteran body there?
Listen, I think DJ Moore is going to be your wide receiver one until proven otherwise. He's the most veteran in the room. He's incredibly talented, and I don't think we've really been able to see him maximized with Caleb Williams yet. Don't underestimate Rome Odunze. There was a lot of chemistry building between Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze this offseason. Obviously came in as rookies together, and Rome Odunze is someone that the coaching staff has loved from day one, which is always interesting to see how a new coaching staff sort of interprets and gets to know the new guys that they inherit. Rome Odunze is a guy that I can tell this coaching staff is very excited about, wise beyond his years, and sort of feels like a veteran in that room already in his second season. And as I mentioned, it just feels like he and Caleb Williams are clicking on a different level. And the Bears went out and got Olamide Zaccheaus this offseason, guys, before the draft. And I think we sort of underestimated what his impact would be, especially when they, then draft Colston Loveland and Luther Burden. And we're all sitting there like, how many receivers are going to be on this football team? Olamide Zaccheaus was the surprise of training camp by all accounts. I mean, he and Caleb Williams are clicking on all cylinders, and he's someone who's incredibly dynamic. He catches everything, and the ball just kept seeming to find him this offseason or this training camp and preseason. So I think there are plenty of options for Caleb Williams. And Ben Johnson told us, guys, he said, I'm worried about what's keeping him up at night is keeping all the horses fed. But he's got a lot of options. He's got a lot of mouths to feed. And that's really going to be what I think should excite a lot of Bears fans and football fans who are going to see how this offense takes the next step. Caleb Williams, anywhere you look, somewhere on the field, there's a playmaker.
Ruthie Polinsky, the Chicago Sports Network, joining us here on Fantasy Frenzy. Any questions? 1-833-414-1440. Ruthie, I want to ask you just about the offensive line and the adjustments they made to the interior, bringing in 3 new faces. They've got the tackles. We know that a bad offensive line can pretty much dismantle any offense. So what have you thought about the offensive line as a group?
Yeah, it's crazy to think that the offensive line, and especially the interior of it, may be the strength of a Bears football team. That's like a foreign language to people here in Chicago. But obviously they go out and they trade for Joe Thuney, who is a 4-time Super Bowl champion and has seen it all. He's played with Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes, and he is just, by all accounts, one of the most special left guards in football history. It's really been incredible to see sort of how he's impacted guys on that offensive line. They went out and they invested in Drew Dahlman, the center from Atlanta, who, was one of the best guys on the market. And that's a position, guys, that Ben Johnson told us early in the offseason. That's somebody that can take some of the weight off of Caleb Williams' shoulders when it comes to just identifying defenses and figuring out how to make sure everyone's aligned. Jonah Jackson on the right side of the line as the right guard is someone Ben Johnson has a history with, who had a Pro Bowl season in Detroit with Ben Johnson, kind of struggled a little bit out in LA, but is feeling really revitalized and excited about the system he's in. And then on the right, as your right tackle, you have Darnell Wright, who is a recent first-round pick for the Chicago Bears and has been absolutely solid in his first 2 seasons. You want to see him get better in season number 3. And then there was a little bit of a left tackle competition this offseason. So this is where things get a little interesting for the Bears, because Braxton Jones has been their guy throughout his entire career, who had a season-ending injury last season and worked his way back, pretty serious injury, worked his way back. The Bears drafted Ozzie Trapillo out of Boston College, who is traditionally in college played right tackle. They tried to put him on the left side, didn't work out so well. An undrafted rookie who you guys may know, Theo Benedette, who is a Canadian football player, he kind of emerged, and he had a great moment in Hard Knocks last year when the Bears were featured on Hard Knocks, where he sang proud to be an American, and he put a Speedo on, and it was an instant classic. He got hurt in the preseason last year as an undrafted rookie, came all the way back, and all of a sudden we're coming up on the end of training camp in the preseason, and we're trying to figure out who this left tackle is going to be, because they're rotating these three guys with Ozzie Trapillo, Braxton Jones, and Theo Benedett. And Theo Benedett sort of emerged there for a minute as people thinking like this guy might actually have a future as a starting left tackle in the league. They're going with Braxton Jones to start the year. Ben Johnson has not been enthusiastic about Braxton Jones being the guy. And he's even said like, hey, we can reevaluate this at the bye week. They have an early bye week, week 5. So there's a lot of uncertainty about how the left side of the line is going to look. But I think having Joe Thuney over there to help in any way, shape, or form is going to be huge for Braxton Jones, who will be there tonight, and then whoever it may be, maybe Theo Benedett moving forward.
Now, Ruthie, I don't know if there was surprise in Chicago with the first-round pick, Colston Loveland. Cole Kmet is a pretty good tight end in his own right, but just more weapons for their quarterback, Caleb Williams. What do you think expectations for Colston Loveland will be this year?
Well, guys, I'm high on Colston Loveland. I'm a University of Michigan alum. You should all know. So I'm real high on Colston Loveland, and he's someone, guys, that dealt with shoulder surgery after right after, I guess it was right after his college season. He underwent shoulder surgery, and he was not able to participate in any of the off-season program, but he was ready to go pretty much right away for training camp. And he is someone that has just adapted to the NFL, the speed of the game, the physicality. He's really adapted quite well. And Ben Johnson's someone who loves to use 2 tight ends on the field. That's something he did in Detroit. And Ben Johnson told Colston Loveland at Colston Loveland's pro day at Michigan that he reminded him of none other than Sam Laporta, who we all know has had great success in Ben Johnson's system in Detroit. I'm really excited to see how they use Colston Loveland and Cole Kmet on the field at the same time. Obviously, 2 guys who are threats in the passing game. And then there was some concern about Loveland's ability to block in the run game. That's something that I talked to Cole Kmet about this week, just how seamless the transition has been for Colston Loveland to really adapt to that NFL physicality and that speed. So I think these are 2 guys that are going to be able to complement each other really well. I mean, listen, if I'm on the field and it's third down and Colston Loveland and Cole Kmet are on the field and you think one of them is going to catch the ball, who's catching it? It could be either of them. So I think you have 2 threats in the passing game and in the run game. And these are guys that are going to be impact players and complement each other well. And they have like the first 4 letters of their name are the same. So it's so much fun, so confusing, but it's a lot of fun. And their chemistry is fun to watch as well.
So I do have to ask you, I won't ask you about this past weekend for the Wolverines, but your time at Michigan, how many games at the Big House, and is there a favorite game that stands out?
Oh my gosh. Well, I went to every game when I was there in college. We were not good when I was there. So I would say probably not a game that stands out from my college career. It was the Brady Hoke era, but I'll give you a good Big House story, more a Michigan story. But my senior year is when Brady Hoke got fired and they hired Jim Harbaugh. And I was at dinner with a bunch of my girlfriends. And, I'm obviously the sports nerd of my friends, and I see Jim Harbaugh and his family in the corner of the same restaurant we're in Ann Arbor. And he hadn't coached a game yet, but he had gotten hired. And my friends are like, Ruthie, don't embarrass us. Like, don't say hi, don't embarrass us. Sure enough, he walks right by our table, and I say, Coach, we're so excited you're here. He introduced us to his wife, to his sister-in-law, and all these people. And he stood there and he talked to us for 10 minutes. And I've had the opportunity to interview Jim Harbaugh, later on in my career. But I bleed maize and blue, guys. It's obnoxious sometimes. And I'm excited about tonight because I'll get to see JJ McCarthy in action. It should be a good matchup for the quarterbacks. I tried to get Colston Loveland to give me a little JJ McCarthy story this week. Colston Loveland, guys, he's all business. He didn't want to go there. They're rivals now. And so it's going to be a fun matchup tonight. Obviously, JJ McCarthy in his hometown as well.
Oh, well, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be absolutely awesome to get home and watch even more football on top of what we've seen all weekend. Ruthie, enjoy the game, and we'll have to get you on again later in the season.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate you having me.
There you go. That is Ruthie Polinsky covering the Chicago Bears for the Chicago Sports Network. Unfortunately for Ruthie, I guess that she didn't get the Harbaugh experience while she was at the University of Michigan. But as a fan, I mean, he got her the ultimate prize at the end of the day. Now he's going to do the same in Los Angeles, or so we hope, Duke. Text line's 1-833-401-1440. You got any questions you want to get in here? Maybe some thoughts on the weekend? Lance says, how about them Raiders? Yeah, Raiders big win over the Patriots. Now, I will say I wasn't as high on the Patriots as perhaps some other people.
And you're higher on the Raiders than I am.
Yeah, well, I just think it can't get much worse.
That is a good point. Like, it's funny because they did upgrade at the tangible spots, right? The quarterback, a lot. Like, Geno Smith is a good quarterback. I don't know if he's a guy that could win you a Super Bowl. He might be a little too volatile for long-term success in the playoffs and deep runs. But guess what? He's better than Aiden O'Connell. He's better than Gardner Minshew.
Yep.
That's a huge upgrade. And then we're talking one of the most successful coaches at both the college and NFL levels that we've seen in the past couple generations. That's an automatic upgrade as well. And it's not necessarily a knock against, Antonio Pierce and what he accomplished there and rallied them to beat the Chiefs on Christmas or whatever that was a couple of years ago. But all of a sudden you have a guy that in a division as tough as the AFC West is, you're like those that's a killer's row of coaches inside that division. You're talking Reed, you're talking Harbaugh, you're talking Sean Payton, and now you add Pete Carroll into it. Well, what I just said about some of the best pro and or college guys, all four of those names have to be in the mix when you're discussing that of the past, 25 odd years or so. Credit to the Raiders. They impressed me yesterday a lot.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm going to say, I do think the Patriots will be better. I think they'll, probably get better as the season goes on. Vrabel will probably win them games they shouldn't win, but I'm not that high.
The talent on the roster is still not there, especially offensively. I think I get it. They bring in Steph Diggs. They're high on the one receiver Douglas, who didn't play, I don't think, yesterday. Not Douglas. Pop Douglas did play, got the touchdown. Butte, fine player. I get it. The running back, Trayvon Henderson, pretty strong debut to pair with Stevenson. But overall, talent-wise, this isn't a team that's probably going to go out and put up 40 points on any given Sunday. Not in my eyes anyway so far.
MTR says Harbaugh is the best. I love that guy. As soon as Ruthie said she saw him in a restaurant, I'm like, oh, she talked to him. He probably chatted her ear off. That just seems like the guy that does that. You hear those stories. We'll take a break. When we come back, more text. Get them into 1-833-401-1440. We'll let you know what's coming up on the Lowdown with Lowtide and the Jason Gregor Show and more. It is Fantasy Frenzy, brought to you by Wilhock Beef Jerky here on Sports 1440, streaming on Sports 1440, Facebook, YouTube, and X.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantor, proudly delivering world-class hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada since 2016. I'm thrilled to announce our in-house production of tool components and accessories for faster turnarounds and enhanced versatility. The future is here at Cantor.com.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is sounding the call. Don't struggle through winter with a furnace you can't trust. For maintenance before winter strikes, call Legacy. Call Legacy. For furnace tune-ups and repairs to give peace of mind. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. Or to scrap your old furnace for a brand new high-efficiency one. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. And with no payments, no interest for 1 year on your new furnace, it's gotta be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
God said, I need somebody to get up before dawn, milk cows, work all day in the fields, milk cows again, eat supper, go to town, and stay all night at a meeting at the school board. So God made a farmer.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. We are so thankful God made a farmer. For the month of September, it is our goal to feed 500 families. With every vehicle sold, we will feed a family of 4. So please help us reach our goal. Visit us online at northgategm.com.
Listen up, because you're not going to want to miss this. Right now is your chance to get in on Play Alberta's biggest offer ever. For a limited time only, new players can get up to a $1,000 casino bonus when they sign up. There's never been a better time to join the fun. Visit playalberta.ca today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
Ah, Hawaii. The warmth of a golden sunset as the waves roll in. The freshness of a waterfall. The lush scent of tropical flowers in the air. You don't need to travel to enjoy all Hawaii has to offer. You just need to order pizza. Bring Hawaii home with the Aloha Trio, available for a limited time at Papa John's. Try our classic Hawaiian, super Hawaiian, or Hawaiian barbecue chicken for just $19.99 each. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, proudly locally owned and operated.
Every weekend, listen right here for live broadcasts of Toronto Blue Jays baseball. Sports 1440, proud to be the home of the Blue Jays.
Farm, ranch, acreage, or lake lot. They're here to help at Bashaw Concrete Products. Family owned and operated for 60 years. They continue to provide the best products and service, period. Call now for your free quote on the highest quality ready mix and gravel, a new septic tank, or an outhouse pad and tank, plus precast cattle water pads, garage sumps, and more. Call 780-372-3854 for prompt delivery. Bashaw Concrete Products, 780-372-3854. BashawConcrete.com.
The ATB Classic is returning to Northern Bear Golf Club.
An international field of professionals will battle it out on their path towards the PGA Tour.
Advance tickets are $20 or upgrade your access to sit greenside in the Sports 1440 Birdie Bar, presented by Sleeman.
Net proceeds go to Youth on Course to give kids age 6 to 18 access to play golf for just $5.
Come see the future stars of the PGA Tour.
The ATB Classic,
September 11th to 14th.
Get your tickets at atbclassic.com.
Get the inside scoop for your team on Fantasy Frenzy with Halley and Douglas on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wilhauk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky.
Mic check, mic check, mic check.
Frenzy here on Sports 1440. Connor Halley, Brandon Douglas. We got Josh Fenwick keeping us on track. Intern Sam hanging around as well. Jam-packed Sports 1440 studio here in West Edmonton Mall. Fantasy Frenzy brought to you by Wilhauk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky. Check them out online at wilhaukbeefjerky.com. Only available in Leduc. Shout out to those of you watching on the old YouTube chat as well. Hit that like button. Kevin's asking about the Broncos defense going forward. Would you roll with them? I would say yes. Week to week, if you're playing, the Bills or the Ravens, I don't know their exact schedule. Maybe I avoid those games. But for the most part, that Denver Broncos defense, quite stellar. We had another text rolling here in the text line, 1-833-401-1440. Camrose, Chris, what is wrong with my Texans offense? Duke, would you like to take that one? Or do you want me to take that one?
Well, I'll go first, and then you can see if I'm looking at it through my biased eyes as a fan of the team and not with as much perspective. Like, we knew, I think, coming into the season that the Texans' offensive line was going to be a work in progress. They completely overhauled it. They did not like what they got from it last year. They move on from Laramie Tunsil, who, when he's at his best, is still one of the best left tackles in the game. However, he has taken more penalties at the position than anybody in the past number of seasons. He does have when he gets beat badly. They move on from him, and they found a suitor in Washington. The price paid by the Commanders was decent for a player that has that big of a contract and, at this stage of his career. So the overhaul of the line, it's gonna take time, I think, to get the meshing and the chemistry. Then injuries piled up yesterday. They were moving guys from left to right, had to bring somebody else in to play center. All of a sudden, you need a new guard on this side. It was a disaster in so many ways. Now, CJ Stroud, he takes some heat, and I think rightfully so at times. But when you look at the amount of hits he's taken, pressure he's under, I'll have all day for CJ Stroud still. The offensive line has to play better. Positive spin. There aren't a ton of teams across the entire NFL that have as good of an offensive front or defensive front, as the Rams right now.
Yeah.
You talk about Byron Young, Jared Verse. The Rams still have some good guys in the secondary as well, but particularly up front, they're one of the best that the NFL has. So did it look great yesterday? No, looked terrible. But hopefully it gets better, and the quality of their opposition will rarely be at that caliber the rest of the year.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, it's week one. The offense, maybe a little bit of some growing pains here, developing with the new offensive line. It doesn't help when you have to take on the Rams, whose strength of their team, I would say, would be the big boys up front, or strength of the defense at least. So it's week 1. I wouldn't panic too much. Do you know who the Texans have coming up next too? Because they're going to be like the Titans or something. Maybe a weaker opponent where they can.
Good question. I don't know if they have a divisional game next week. Oh, they're a primetime game Monday night or Tampa. Yeah. Tampa's defensive front is also the strength of their defense, much better than their secondary. Guy like Vita Vea still can do some damage up there. But to me, Tampa Bay is more of like their defensive front is a better run stopping group than it is necessarily quarterback pressure. And those two things can go hand in hand. But I'm hoping it's a primetime game, double header Monday night.
Yeah.
Next week, your Chargers are on the second half of that out west. Hopefully both our clubs can get wins. I'm pretty sure in my prediction of the season schedule, I had this as a loss to the Bucks. But in fairness, I had them winning yesterday, so what do I know?
Got to take Emeka Egbuka out of the game. 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, also maybe get him off my bench in fantasy football after trading up to get him in my rookie draft. Bench him for Jaden Higgins because Christian Kirk wasn't playing. Thought there'd be a little more life there.
Here's the thing about him. We didn't know when it was going to happen, but we knew at some point he was going to make plays and just be a 12-year starter. That's what he's going to be.
It's the first game in, and it's like, oh yeah, this guy comes as advertised. I saw a tweet. I follow. I can't remember the name of who it was that posted it, but a college football coverage person mostly, still watching NFL, and basically went on to say like Egbuka is maybe the best WR2 in the history of college football. When you look at the two guys he did kind of been behind his last 2 seasons at the Ohio State, obviously Marvin Harrison Jr., and then the guy that's still there now.
Jeremiah Smith.
Like Egbuka, he easily could have came out the same year as Harrison, goes back, wins the national championship, gets his reward from it, and now is 1 week into what tees up to be a pretty prolific NFL career with a high-powered Bucs offense.
Yeah, it's funny too because like he's not Marvin Harrison. He's not 6'5", 230 with lightning quick speed, but he's just gets open. He makes plays, and I thought he was going to come out after the 2023 season. So good on him for returning. Get the natty, be the guy that they hoped he would be. Another 1,000-yard season, 10 touchdowns, like kind of bounced back from his sophomore season. And that was just a great pick by the Bucs. And I think we all knew it when it happened. The teams maybe just didn't want to jump into it too early. But yeah, he's going to be a good player for a long time. Speaking of good players,
Marvin Harrison Jr.
Well, coming up next is the Lowdown Flow Tide.
Oh, there's a lot of good players in that club.
LT, Declan. They'll have Gregor on the show, as he is always on every Monday. And I don't know what else. Usually it's Rachel Dory, but I don't think that is going to kick off till hockey season again. So they'll recap the weekend. Declan, of course, knows his CFL football. Maybe they'll dive into the Elks win over the Stampeders as well. And then from 2 to 6, it is the Jason Gregor Show, as I previously mentioned with Kevin Carius. So should be a fun one. We'll have Kevin Woodley of Ingle Magazine, Pierre Hood, longtime voice of the Montreal Canadiens. Talk about the late, great Ken Dryden, who passed away over the weekend after a battle with cancer. Jamie Thomas will be by, talk some Jets. We got Cam Tate's 2-minute warning. Tater's 2-minute warning, going to be Monday through Friday now on the Jason Gregor Show. It started as just Monday, Friday. During the playoffs, he jumped up to Wednesday. And now, heading into year 3 of Sports 1440, you can catch Cam Tate's 2-minute warning every day of the week. Spec will be by, and we got some requests out to the Green and Gold as well for a player and or coach. So should be a fun one on the Jason Gregor Show from 2 till 6. Duke, who would you say was the biggest letdown for you this week?
Jamar Chase. I mean, he this is like a number 1 overall pick in a lot of leagues, especially I think PPR ones. Top 3, top 5 pick in every other format that exists. And the entire Bengals offense was incredibly lackluster. What was his final stat line? 3 catches for 25 yards. Is brutal. A bad day for Jamar Chase. And some of the other big names didn't, like Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah.
Didn't, like, he had 10 receptions. So in PPR, it was salvageable as a 15-point day, but only 50 yards of total offense. Doesn't impress you a ton. Those would be my 2 biggest. And at a personal level, I don't own him in any fantasy leagues, but for my Texans, like Nico Collins, you would have expected maybe to get a little more action. As I mentioned, without Christian Kirk, who came in as WR2, new piece of this team. You could have told me he wasn't playing that game yesterday, and I would have believed you.
Just not doing much.
Like, I think, 2 catches for 20 yards, maybe?
Yeah.
The final line. So, so some names like that. I mean, the offensive play I thought was pretty sloppy around the league. We often see that in the early going of the campaign. For the Bengals, they finally played offensive starters in preseason. Now they won the game, which is barely over the Browns, who are terrible.
Not the worst though.
No,
maybe the Browns showed you all something.
That they're good?
No, but they're just not that bad. They got the fighting spirit.
I think they're pretty bad. I think the Bengals just no matter what cannot put on good performances in the first couple weeks of the season. But they got the win. So any Bengals player, Collins, Gibbs, there were more than a share. What about you? Who was a big letdown for you yesterday?
Jahmyr Gibbs was the one that came to mind immediately. Just like, without Ben Johnson, maybe we should have had a little bit of a concern. I don't know how high the expectations are for this team, but the Carolina Panthers performance.
Yeah, I would agree.
I mean, I was hoping for a little bit more from them. On the flip side, if I can give a shutout, because in my little group parlay action, I picked Justin Fields touchdown. For fantasy purposes, he didn't have a bad week. 3 touchdowns total.
Oh yeah, and neither totals for passing or rushing jumped off the page, but anytime you find the end zone 3 times and twice was as a rusher, you're going to have your total is going to be pretty respectable come its conclusion. So I thought Fields was really good yesterday, actually.
Yeah, 16 of 22. That's not bad. Brees Hall, 100 yards. So
the Jets impressed me overall yesterday. They looked much better than I thought they would. Now it's funny that a game between the Steelers and Jets, 2 teams that I would think are kind of priding themselves on their play of their defenses this year, was the only over to hit until the Sunday nighter. Everything else unders across the board or what cashed in, which once again speaks to the fact that trends tell us that in the early going of the season, weeks 1 and 2, unders are the smarter plays. Now, for it to go, what are we talking? There's 12 games yesterday, but sorry, excluding the Sunday nighter.
Yeah,
1 and 11 for overs. I don't think the trends usually dictate quite that stark of a contrast.
It's not fun either. Who wants to bet the under?
Well, there were a lot of dull games, and you mentioned the Panthers. They're a team that I came into this year kind of like with you with the Raiders. I was higher on. Bryce Young did not play great, but I thought his teammates did not do him any favors with some drops. Like Xavier Legette, there was a play that could have kept the drive alive, and it just stood out to me in recollection. And easily get 2 feet in, but just not the details weren't there. And steps out with the second foot, boom, you're punting again.
Yeah.
And so I didn't think Bryce Young's teammates did him any favors yesterday. He needs to still be better, but big win for the Jags in week 1.
Xavier Legette, I follow just, the NFL on social media, falling out of favor with Carolina Panthers fans. There are some guys they could have taken ahead of him and did not. And a lot of people not happy about it. But, with a grain of salt, it's social media and nobody's ever happy on the X app. That music means we're done. Thank you guys for tuning into the show today. Come back tomorrow. We'll vent. We'll share our mistakes from the first week of the fantasy football season and look at the waiver wire and who you might want to target going into week number 2. Overreactions, of course, will be aplenty. Right now, we're going to get to Sports 1440 update with the Duke, brought to you by Will Hawk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky. You can check them out online or in person, only available in Leduc. Quickly, also big shout out to Ruthie Podlinski for joining us. Check the podcast if you missed anything as well. And if you're watching right now on YouTube, go and hit that like button also. Let's get to it. Here is the Duke with a Sports 1440 update.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Week 1 of the NFL season wrapping up tonight in Chicago. The Bears hosting the division rival Minnesota Vikings. Kickoff coming at 6:15. Vikings quarterback J.J. McCarthy set to make his first regular season NFL start. Off the field, head coach Brian Daboll of the New York Giants announcing this morning that Russell Wilson will remain the team's starting quarterback for their next week matchup against the Dallas Cowboys. Giants opened the season yesterday with a 21-6 loss at the hands of the Commanders. In the majors today, 11 games total, including the Guardians hosting the Royals. Mets are in Philadelphia for an NL East matchup. Braves host the Cubs. Brewers taking on the Rangers from Arlington. Padres taking on the Reds. Cardinals are in at Seattle. Giants, D-backs, Red Sox, Athletics, and Rockies will play the Dodgers in the nightcap. From the NHL, Kevin LeBanc joining the Carolina Hurricanes on a professional tryout offer. 29-year-old forward last season spent with the Columbus Blue Jackets. Coming up on Sports 1440, it is the Lowdown with Low Tide. I'm Brad.